So I'm going to show a clip from this video. Um, a 15-year-old student was sent to Juvie under violation of probation by not doing homework. This to me shows that there's still this um, uh, child to prison or school to prison pipeline going on where judges are um, giving harsher punishments than what is needed for minor uh, child offenses. I mean, not doing your homework is not really like illegal, and I can't see how it's part of probation. Um, the person shouldn't have been sent to juvie whatsoever. The judge should be, in my opinion, removed from his position, and the person's case needs to be reviewed by someone that's impartial.
Talk about a story out of Michigan that, as jaded as I am and as many stories that I've heard in my own profession through my own work and my colleagues, this one made my jaw drop. When I heard about a Michigan teen, a 15-year-old, who was in a juvenile facility, a juvenile correction program, where she's on probation and she's quote unquote violates probation because she did not complete her homework, when the school went from, like every other student in this country and many across the world, went from physical to virtual. And because of that, she is now sitting in jail, or in a juvenile facility.
It's pretty much jail. I mean, juvies are pretty much no different than what jail is. Um, but this shows some kind of problem when they can actually uh send people to jail or to juvie for not doing their homework.
And the next hearing date is September 8th because of not completing homework. Joe, I want to come to you because you've got a lot to talk about in this. Break it down for us, please.
Well, I'll tell you what I saw, and then I'll tell you what the resident expert saw. My wife is a speech therapist, which is part of special education. So, because teamwork makes the dream work, I said, look at this and tell me what you see. What I see is, and it's not invalid, overly punitive criminal justice system. I see.
Wait. The judge is saying that this person is a threat to the community when all she did was violate her probation. How is that very threatening? Um, the the defense attorney will say says that the 15-year-old bit her mother's finger, but she has some kind of disability. Um, that is another thing that's a problem with their like schooling system and stuff, as well as the justice system. It's it's not truly equipped to actually provide students with disabilities adequate accommodations.
A black child, a child of color inside a largely white system. And I see someone being thrown in jail when, because of COVID, you're trying to keep people out of jail, particularly people that are nonviolent. Now, this child got into it with her mom, and that's why they're on probation. But I think she bit her mom's finger. Okay. Her mom made it from that. All right. So once my wife looked at it as,
Oh, that just makes me think. You know, there's been a bunch of wealthy uh upper class white families whose kids get in trouble. There is that one case where the kid is drinking and driving and kills some people, and they don't really punish him because he's too affluent, meaning too wealthy. And then that Brock guy who rapes a person, and all they do is talk about all the good that he has the potential for. It shows there's a when you have money and you're white, you can pretty much get away with whatever. But if you're a poor, disabled black person, you're gonna go to juvie for not doing homework.
A person that does special education, this is what she saw. There's an IEP, which means individualized education program, because this child has special needs. There's a situation where this child has largely been compliant with what it is that's supposed to be happening related to her probation, related to her study. We also have a situation where she's not in touch most of the time with her special education teacher. So for a long time, the special education teacher wasn't even involved like they needed to be. Right now, guys, nobody.
And this is something that happens with a lot of parents with uh, special education kids or special needs kids. The school will do a whole lot. As much as they can. A lot of schools will do as much as they can to actually not step up and help provide for the students. Sometimes even bullying the students and the parents for having special needs.
Nobody's following all the rules because they can't on some level. And then the whole prosecution in terms of the probation violation was because the mom made a comment, admittedly in frustration. The child's not doing what they're supposed to do, that kind of thing. And then once you get to the probation hearing, the only witness is the caseworker, who acknowledged on cross-examination that they couldn't even tell you what this child actually needs per their IEP. So you've got this child being failed on just about every level, when every other trend says if a child's nonviolent, you do everything that you can to keep them out of the system. Particularly right now, you've got this child being compliant pretty much all the way through the process in terms of probation and back in touch with their special ed teacher the day after the alleged violation was turned in. But somehow she gets failed by this system.
Because it's not a failure of the system. This is the way the system has been set up. It's so that people like her will be put into juvie and stuff, given a record, so that as adults they're more likely to have trouble getting jobs and end up committing some type of crime, so that they're back in jail, because the prison industrial complex thrives on using prison labor, as well as various other companies. They use a lot of prison labor for slavery, and this is what the system wants. The 13th Amendment never abolished slavery. It just made it legal as a form of punishment, which is why the private prisons have gotten so big and so profitable, because they can get free labor, sell those people or lease those people to other corporations and make bank. Private prisons also have contracts with states dictating that those prisons will have a certain capacity, and if they don't, that means those prisons can sue the state, which incentivizes the state to want to crack down harder on poor people, so that they can fill those prisons.
So you got go ahead.
Let me throw this at you and see if this changes anything, because I'm getting other details about it as well. The prosecutor and the social worker recommended a residential program for mental health and anger management. She was diagnosed with ADHD, and a lot of what you said as well. But the judge overruled the prosecutor and the social worker and said that she was a threat to the community, and said that she should be put in. Now, she was put in, I believe, earlier this week, and the next hearing date is September 8th. So you think about that. That's half of July. She's been in since May. So that's
Right.
June, July, August. How does that make sense?
She's a poor person being punished for having disabilities and, not getting the help that she needs. How is this a justice system when, people are punished for no fault of their own?
For homework. I went to Catholic school. I thought they were tough.
And most people will tell you, my best friend is a teacher. My wife is a speech therapist, where people that get the therapy have to get on the system. They will all tell you that up to half, maybe at best, about half of the kids are dialing into the system and doing the things that they needed to do. Me saying dial in, that dates me. But most kids, this was not inconsistent, her level of participation, with what you see from most kids. Now, if the child was not violent enough to be permanently incarcerated when the actual underlying issue occurred, which was biting the mom's finger, how is she now suddenly a threat because she didn't go to class? She's got ADHD. She's supposed to pay attention from home, and kids without ADHD aren't paying attention from home. This is what lets you know what kind of problem we have. And, at the risk of being entirely too simple, this judge has looked at this Black girl and seen something that the people that value our lives and value second chances don't see. And
What she sees is a Black person, and to a lot of people, especially in the justice system, no matter the age or whatever, Black people are dangerous.
that's why we have the problem that we have.
Yeah. I just want to end off before we go to break real quick. The judge said most people go through their entire youth without having the cops have to come to their house because they can't get themselves together. It's interesting how this judge looks at the role of children. I can tell you, I'm here at Law and Crime. I'm a defense attorney. I practice. I've been stopped and frisked in New York before, so how does that have any difference? I know many of my colleagues, we've never been arrested, but we've had many officers stop us and approach us. That's not an indication of us as human beings. I think it's more of an indication of the system at hand. We're going to come back with more after this break.